Working with dynamics in Modo is super fun, and actually it's not as complicated as you might think. So setting up this little crash simulation is not that complicated. There are basically 3 steps to it. First of all, we're going to select the floor item, and we're going to make that a static, rigid body. Once that's applied, 2 things are going to happen. First of all, it's going to add a solver to our scene, a dynamic solver, and it's going to set up our floor as a static dynamic item. That means that it is going to interact with dynamic objects, but it won't move itself, which is kind of an important feature of the floor. You don't usually want that moving. But anyway, now if I select the car body, I'm going to make that a kinematic rigid body. That means that dynamic objects are also going to react to it, but its position is going to be defined by an animation. We want to be able to move this car manually around in our scene. And the third and final step is to select all of the bricks on this wall. And a quick way of doing that would be to double-click the group locator containing all of those bricks, and then control-click to deselect just the group locator itself. So we have only its contents selected. Now we head over and make those active rigid bodies, and that's going to apply dynamics that will allow these things to move freely around our scene. Now with these, there's actually one more step we want to take to make sure this behaves appropriately. So let's head over to the properties for these guys. And now we're going to have dynamic properties. Those weren't there before, but they are there now. Let's change their collision shape to box because that's just going to perform better than hull. And also, we're going to go down to the sleep subset. Let's set that to wake on velocity and set it to something small like 0.1. And make those passive. Effectively, what that's going to mean is that these guys are not actually going to move anywhere until something else acts on them. That'll kind of keep them from misbehaving before we've actually done anything with them. From there, all we have to do is run the sim. So now we are running. I can click on this guy, hit W for move, drag it forward, and boom! We have now blown a hole in our wall. Just like that. And it's falling down. Isn't that fun? And it'll just keep running like that. That's just kind of fun. Now, to make that actually work, all we have to do is set up an animation, right? So if I just take this guy, for example, let's head to our Animate tab, as we did before. I'll go to Perspective View. I'm going to select this car. Let's go to the beginning of our animation, key its position channels. We're going to scrub forward to, say, frame 60, and drag this guy forward through the wall. There we go. So now we have an animation crashing through the wall. To make that actually work, all we have to do is run the sim. So let's go back to our Setup tab, and we're going to run the sim and cache it. We're going to run frames 0 to 120 and click OK. That's going to calculate the simulation and cache that so that now we can live scrub through this animation and watch what happens in real time without having to wait for calculation results as we scrub. Very, very fun stuff for sure. All right, have fun with that.